Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey, and I'm here with my co-host Eric Pierce, the editor of the Downey Patriot. And you're listening or watching Talking Downey with Mario
and Eric.
Eric, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I'm sorry this morning, we're all running late and hustling, and there's a lot of things going on in the world, especially Downey.
You know, we were supposed to start recording about 20 minutes ago, but when I got here, you were on the phone, yes. And you're super busy, which is kind of funny because I thought that you were retired,
yeah.
But you're always running around like a madman.
Yeah. Well, you'll see it later. I can actually say because by the time this airs on there, it'll be her agenda will be over. But hosting the Secretary of the Army next week, so we're going with her office and our local Army and detail by detail of every minute. So that's taking a big toll on me for the last week, but it's all good.
Yeah,
right?
I saw the agenda. It's crazy to me how detailed every visit is when there's an important Army person visiting.
Yeah.
Every little detail is planned out.
Yeah, and we're having her meet with LA Unified. We're having her meet with the president of USC. We're having a community partners meeting. I invited you to that at the lunch on there. But yes, and I went to Porto's this morning, and I have the pumpkin spice latte something, which I forget, I don't do caffeine because I have natural caffeine. Okay, I'm on a natural high, so now I'm even more. So.
I mean, you guys know Mario. Imagine Mario on caffeine. I can't deal with this right now.
I'm sorry. Okay, all right, Mario, calm down.
Speaking of Portos, I was walking over here. Did you see the photo backdrop that they have right outside? If you guys haven't been, go to Portos in downtown Downey. They have a really beautiful fall background setup where you can go take your family, take some really nice photos, completely free. And it's right outside Portos. You can't miss it. It's really beautiful.
Right,
it's really
right,
nice.
Absolutely. Well, there's also a really cute one of downtown Downey, right? Yeah. Right on the corner of Downey and 2nd Street. So again, another family photo op. I look out my window, so I've seen families
You
there.
see the kids out there taking pictures. It's really
that's
nice.
Good. I'm glad. As a community, we're enticing families to do things like that.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
We have a few things to talk about today, Downey related, obviously. I want to ask you, Mario, about State of the City. The Downey Chamber of Commerce hosted its annual State of the City. Keynote speaker was the mayor, Blanca Pacheco. I couldn't attend because it was on Thursday. Thursday is a tough day for me because that's when the Downey Patriot goes to press. So I'm stuck working on Thursday. I couldn't go. You made it. I spoke to a few people who attended, got different feedback. I kind of want to hear your feedback. How was it? Any big announcements that came from it?
That's a real loaded question on there. Okay, I'm going to try to be nice as I can. First of all, they need to bring it back to the spring. Okay, because there's so many things going on. Here's 2 weeks before an election. It's late fall. The mayor only has a month to go in the transition and so forth. We used to always have it in the spring. So the mayor would kind of say, hey, this is what we're going to be doing this year. So it was switched a couple years ago. Now it needs to go back. The attendance used to be packed. And you could tell yesterday was maybe 60-70% of what the past because people like yourself. Here's the editor of the Downey Patriot can't go on there, and there's a lot of other people because there's a lot of activity going on. So that's number one, and that's nobody's fault. They just need to bring it back. I hope the next mayor does it in March or April, the way it should always be, and so forth.
I'm sorry, but you have a very unique perspective because you always, two-time former mayor, but you've keynoted how many? Two of them. Because so you have that. Different perspective.
Right, and I liked it. What I'll try to do is early in the year kind of said, this is the mayoral goals, this is where we're at as a city, and I got to recap a little bit of the last year, but I always wanted to showcase something that people didn't know. Here's a big announcement, this is coming up, and kind of announcing something big.
It used to be a big deal in the city. You would get those big announcements. I remember when Dave Gaffin, rest in peace, when he announced BJ's coming to Stonewood. This was back when we didn't really have the restaurants that we have today. But there would always be some big announcement that would come from it, and it was exciting.
I always look forward to 2 or 3. Once my last term, one of the things I announced was the app, our Downey app, which now you can do graffiti, you can have pickup and stuff like that. So that was kind of, the beginning of apps, if you will.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal for a city to have a graffiti
At that
app,
time, yeah.
and stuff like that. So you do those type of things. So yesterday was a little bit of a lost opportunity. It was kind of a recap. This is what the city manager does, boom, boom, boom. This is what the finance does, boom, boom, boom. This is what soul department does, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And after a while, you're like, there was nothing there.
Right.
So it was a little bit, one mention that I thought was a wasted opportunity. So it was a one item. Oh, next year there'll be the grand opening or the groundbreaking of the new Inspiration building for the Columbia.
Right.
That was it. So I'm sitting there as a board member of the Columbia, and I'm sitting next to Nader, the CEO of Financial Partners, our lead sponsor, and he's the chairman of the board of the Columbia. And we've been talking about this with the Columbia board and the executive director there, what we're doing. We got some money from the state of California to help build this, and Downey always is supporting a big way. And we already have some pre-drawings. We have some visionary drawings and what's going to happen and what we need to raise. Eric, what a wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
Why not announce it there at the State of the City? And I don't know.
That could have been that big announcement.
Yeah.
Share those photos,
the
get some
vision,
buzz going.
The vision. I'm sure you, as your paper, you probably would have rushed to make that as an announcement. And right now, you don't even know. You don't have a picture of it. You don't have any. So all we did was announce there's going to be a groundbreaking, and I think Senator Archuleta's name was mentioned. Anyways, so with all due respect to anybody that helped put it together, there was nothing logistically wrong. Yeah, okay.
The meat of it was.
Yeah, there was nothing there, and I think, and unfortunately, Eric, I got that from a lot of people. I don't know if you've heard from anybody. I heard that.
I heard from a few people who are kind of disappointed. I think because I think we lose the message sometimes because it's the state of the city. Like, what's the current state of Downey?
Right.
It's beyond. It's not great.
Right.
But what's going to happen? What's going to happen in the future? Give us some positivity, because I do think there's some better days ahead for Downey.
Of course.
100%.
Of course.
And we're still a great city, but I think we need to be honest and talk about it. And I think that was what the people that I spoke to, were kind of looking for that message of what's happening in Downey. Not so much a recap of what the city does, but they want some information, maybe a little bit of inspiration, hope of what's happening here.
Leadership and vision, and didn't get that yesterday.
It was a little bit too sanitized.
Yeah. Even the PowerPoints themselves on there, everything was red, and so I'm not saying anything about anybody. I'm not putting down anybody. A lost opportunity, I thought, for our city in transition now, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, I remember back when you're on the council, and I'm not saying this because, back then you guys were so great, but you guys, I'm not saying that you're not, but you specifically had town hall meetings.
Yes.
And we don't really have those anymore. Sean Ashton had some, maybe too many, but back then even the town hall meetings were very constructive, I thought, and they were great for the community. We don't have those anymore.
Right, and that's why I didn't mind as mayor having the state of the city early on, because I knew that every October I was going to have a big town hall meeting, and several of the ideas that I helped implement came from the citizens. We had pretty good turnouts at the Barbara Riley.
Oh, yeah.
You remember you covered them all for the Patriot on there. That's when I got in trouble for being too honest. But anyways, I think that's something that's missing is the community engagement and so forth, because then you don't need to have it yesterday, because our mayor could have recapped everything she did yesterday at her going away mayor's transition,
right?
Which is less than 3 weeks away or 4 weeks away, whatever it is.
Right.
So lost opportunity.
I agree. Having the state of the city in the spring, I think, would be more ideal for people's schedules, and also I think it holds people more accountable. If you have the state of the city in the spring, and then you could hold them accountable towards the end of the year, and see how they did.
Right.
But I think I would like to see it be a little bit less safe, I guess, a little bit more transparent in what's happening in Downey, because I feel like it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of instability happening in Downey right now, and we need to talk about it openly and not so much just, you know, hush hush, you know, between people. Let's talk about it and what we can do as a community to get better. Because we have an interim city manager, we have some interim department heads. What are we going to do? How are we going to get Downey back on track? And I know some people say, you know, Downey is in transition. Oh, we talked about this forever. Okay, Downey is in transition, but what is it transitioning to? What's the end goal? Like, what's the plan here? Where's the leadership? You know, and
Eric, I need to comment on this about the Downey Patriot. I want to compliment you, and I haven't talked about this, but I've noticed that you're doing a lot more between you and Alex Dominguez. They're doing a lot more editorials or opinions on behalf or fact checks, if you will, on candidates, on the election, and your thoughts on people and so forth. But Eric, and I want to commend you on that because you're the main source of news here locally on there. You know, you're the paper here. So by you stating at least, and you've been very fair. I don't agree with you on all of them, but you've been very fair to present the pictures. And for the first time, I think you guys are sharing the paper's opinion and yours from as being the editor. So I want to. That's different than what you've done in the past. But I think it goes to what you just said. I think it's important to people be informed, and you've finally taken a leadership role saying.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that is a new thing. You know, the Patriot's been around for 20 years, and it's always been kind of stayed back as far as telling people how to vote. But I think it was time for a change because there's too much at stake right now. You know, we need to be a little bit more forceful and also still being fair because I don't want the paper to just be my viewpoint. You know, I publish, you know, your op-ed. I publish op-eds even if I disagree with them. It doesn't matter. We have letters. In today's, we're filming this on a Friday. In today's paper, we have letters on Measure K, the Downey school bond, pro and con. So it's not about putting, you know, one perspective and kind of forcing it on people. It's about, you know, including everybody's viewpoints. But yeah, I am trying to be a little bit more vocal in what I believe is best for the city of Downey, in a nonpartisan way, because it is a nonpartisan election. It doesn't matter if the council members are Republican or Democrat. It's a nonpartisan election. You need to elect the people who have Downey's best interest in mind. Period.
No, I agree. Hey, speaking of elections on there, I got a thing in the mail yesterday, 2 of them from Cerritos College. Okay, it bugs me. It bugs me that taxpayer money from Cerritos College is being said, oh, on the CC, this is what it'll do, and the whole thing, where the college is not advocating anything. So BS. Of course you are. You've sent out 2 mailers saying all the good stuff that's going to happen, and you want me to spend $450 million on top of the other bonds we have, Cerritos College. Eric, it's just ingenuous to me. Because you somehow you mail to everybody in the Cerritos College district. Don't do that.
At taxpayer expense.
At taxpayer expense. And they're saying, oh, we're not advocating. Well, first of all, you put it on the ballot, your board of trustees on there, and anyways, sorry. I'm on my high horse about when it comes to taxpayer stuff.
City of Downey do the same thing with their hotel tax, and I forget what that measure is. But they did the same thing, like an informational mailer. But it says, you know, all the great things that will, you know, potentially.
And it's basically all it's doing. And by the way, I'm not against that. And all it does, that hotel occupancy tax, it's just going to the general funds. It's just adding $1 million to the general funds, which, you know, if we have a better council, they'll take care of our money better like we used to, or going forward we will.
Well, that's important. That's important because you know, for those who aren't familiar with how local government works, and correct me if I'm wrong, when money goes into the general fund, it means that the city council can use that money however it wants to. There's absolutely zero guarantee that this money is going to be allocated towards what they're saying, which is public safety, Downey fire. We expect them to do the right thing, but there's zero guarantee that is how the city is going to use the money.
And Measure S, the very first meeting of the Measure S oversight, John Ascui, which, you know, was forced to retire recently, says, he goes, so when we question, you're supposed to be for police, it's supposed to be for this, supposed to be, Because basically we can do anything we want, and we
Yeah.
need to pay some retirement funds. So a little bit disingenuous, but you're right. But and that's why it's so important. The council in a charter city like Downey, folks, 3 votes, just 3 votes can spend all the money however it wants. Okay, I mean we can vote them out of office, we can recall
Sure.
people, we can do. But 3 out of the 5 council people can do whatever they want with our money, which is good if they're good people. It's scary if you gotta, and that's how other cities have gotten in trouble.
Right.
So, anyways.
Well, I'm going to be happy when this election is over. We just have a few more days left. And
Yeah.
But even then, not to rehash because we've talked about this so much, but then we have more elections. That we're going to be talking about.
We will.
It's exhausting, but it's for the benefit of Downey.
We're going to talk about the recall for 8 seconds. Because
Yeah.
last time somebody put it on my social media, oh, you said you're not going to talk about the recall, then you talked about it for 7 minutes. So that's it. No more recall.
No
talk.
more recall.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it later.
And later, like
Yeah.
in another episode,
Yeah,
early
more
next
time,
year,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
This was a city council week, city council meeting Tuesday. Nothing, terribly important that came out to me. What was anything jumped out at you?
So I didn't watch it live, and believe it or not, I fell asleep to it last night with my headsets on, watching it on my iPad, because getting ready for today to do this. Nothing earth-shaking. A couple observation points. Well, things that they voted on. They voted on a 3-year contract for the venue at the Downey Theater. There was a negotiation from 5.
Right.
Evidently, they did an RFP, request for proposal for other people to come in to run it. Nobody applied. I mean, they did it again. Nobody applied. So they're doing it for 3 years. And the problem is, it's a 700 and some odd seat theater. It's beautiful now, but you're not going to get the big acts.
No.
The big acts are going to go to big stadiums or to big theaters.
It's too small for the bigger acts,
Yeah.
but it's also too big for smaller organizations
Yeah.
because it's a big theater as far physically.
Yeah.
It's 738 seats, so it's right in that middle, which makes it kind of difficult to sell.
Yeah. So anyway, so they voted approved with Venue Tech for another 3-year contract.
Yeah.
They passed a couple ordinances now on drones and on street takeovers because they added some juice to the penalties on that, or at least they have the city prosecutor involved in that. So that's good. At least they're clarifying stuff. A couple of the other takeaways that I got out of it. First of all, at the very beginning, I think with the Mayor Pro Tem came out and she saw so many people there that were going to speak against her, she left. She just left the council. So a lot of the things were for a vote. Catherine Alvarez was not in the house for any of those votes or discussions.
She started the meeting and then she left.
And she left, yeah. So I think it was because the room was pretty full from what I could tell.
Yeah.
And there was like 20 people. Something that was new, they were doing cards.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know
And
that.
there was no notice that I saw.
No.
That was very interesting.
And I don't think there's ever been any presidents in the city. And I mean, it could be maybe they didn't want 20 people lining up, standing there to be the next one to talk, so everybody can sound. So maybe there's some logic to it.
I don't know. Yeah.
The one thing that stood out, oh my gosh, is Councilmember LaPlante. He's served for many years on the school board. He's obviously a brilliant scholar and a smart and good man. But, dude, you signed up for that. He goes on a rant every single time after the public comment. There's 20 public comment, only one thing to talk about the agenda. City council meetings are to talk about the agenda. And, blah, blah, blah. And 2 people even came up here campaigning, that a couple of the people candidates. Dude, get over it. That's what you signed up for.
That's what you signed up
and
for.
Number one, you can't tell people that you can't. If that's what it is, you get your 3 minutes to talk about it. Council meetings are not to talk things about the agenda. It's also to say what things you want in the future of the agenda, to criticize the city council, to praise the city of Downey, to do whatever. But just chill, dude. You signed up for this. That's the 3rd or 4th time he goes on this rant, and I just sit there and laugh. It's like,
what's interesting though. So LaPlante, great person. I'll echo what you said. But he's coming from the decades on the Downey Unified School Board, which is a super sanitized, polar opposite of city council meetings.
Yeah.
So I think it is tough. But we talked about it when he applied. I'm not sure he understood what he was getting himself into in terms of feedback from the public, because it gets really brutal, and it's been that way for years. It's not brand new. It's been that way. And
well, I remember listening to your podcast right after he was appointed with him, and you asking him, well, you know, this seat, it's a caretaker seat, and how are you going to help residents and so forth. He goes, well, if you need a pothole fixed, don't call me, call Public Works. You know, I don't know how to fix potholes. And I'm thinking, that's your job, is to mediate or moderate for the citizens. Okay, if they have an issue, talk to them on how to get things done. That's the one thing. I laughed. I listened to your things like, then what the heck are you doing there? You don't want to listen to people. You don't want to do anything on their behalf.
I would think that could make you a hero too. You know, you just refer them to, you know, Public Works or whatever. That's the stuff. I mean, it's that small stuff I think that you would probably enjoy. You know, it's service. Because residents, they need a voice. They need a representative. That's
Eric, one of my favorite things when somebody would call to complain, especially when I was mayor, but even on the council, they'd call the council secretary and they'd want to speak to the mayor, and they list a whole bunch of grievances. So Eric, I used to call him back. I'd call him right away. They were shocked. They were like, really? This is really the mayor? I go, yes, ma'am, it is on there. I just wanted to hear you out. Would you like to have a cup of coffee? Would you like to come in here to the office? They couldn't believe that. And then, as you know, I gave out my cell number on the paper all the time to you when you would have people were interviewing me. Are you down there? Yeah, call me anytime, you know. Same cell number all these years.
That's so funny. And it does calm people down, because even at the Patriot, we get, you know, messages. I'll get phone calls and emails from people who are just very upset. But then once you talk to them on the phone, sometimes they just want to vent and they just need to be heard. And they feel like the representative is not properly representing them.
Anyways, all right. So, anything else? Do you want to make this a short episode this time?
Yeah, you know, short episode. I'm kind of hungry. We're in beautiful downtown Downey. I do want to say there's a bunch of events happening in downtown Downey in the next 6 weeks through the end of the year. At the Downey Theater, there's going to be a bunch of concerts. We have the Christmas tree lighting. You know, the city does not call it a Christmas tree. They call it a tree lighting, which has always bugged me. You know, in their flyers, it says it's a tree lighting. What kind of tree?
It's that's politically correct. It was a Christmas tree when I was on the council, because that's what it is. And we were good about all religions. You know, I served with Dave Gaffin, he was Jewish, and everything else on there, and of course it is.
And big shout out to the Downey Chamber, because they recently renamed their parade the Downey Christmas Parade, which it is. They used to be the holiday parade. It's the Christmas parade. But no, check it out. Lots of good stuff happening in Downey, downtown Downey specifically. There is a calendar of events on the district@downey.com, which is the downtown Downey official website. Check it out. There's a bunch of events on there, but good stuff coming up. It's actually kind of fun right now. I mean, it's fall. It feels like fall. There's stuff happening.
A lot of pumpkin stuff added to food.
I know.
So
good stuff. What about you?
Well, no, number one is tomorrow I'm doing an event, or I'm going to a meet and greet for a politician, for Lanny Chin, the guy that's running for controller. But it's weird here in Downey, it's at the Bravo Center. Didn't know this Bravo Center.
What is the Bravo Center?
It's somebody's house, so they converted the backyard.
In Downey?
In Downey. I'll tell you the address later on there. I don't want to do it live.
Is it permitted?
On there. I don't know, but I've never heard of that. And it's definitely in a residential area, and it's like,
the Bravo Center. Interesting.
I'll show you offline now. So
I've seen his signs everywhere around the city.
You know what though? Okay, well, you know what? This is our episode. This is our show. Okay, so I would say I don't have the public disclosure issues. I think he's going to win, number one. I think he's a good man, Stanford, Yale graduate, bipartisan, worked under President Obama's administration, then under President George Bush, was a policy advisor to Governor Romney at the time. Anyways, he took controller for one of the 6 constitutional officers in the state of California. It's a very nonpartisan thing. It's basically the watchdog, making sure we're spending our money right. I think he's got a legitimate chance, and he's a good guy. So I've met with him several times, and I'm supporting him. But he's coming here to Downey, and then we're going to do a taste of Downey. We're going to Poston. We're going to go to Port Tools and so forth. So he wants to spend some time here.
It's
so
always
that's
nice when they come. To
Yeah,
town,
yeah,
I mean, I'll be
yeah.
honest. I can't get excited for the state controller race
until it affects your money.
No,
Until it affects your money.
Absolutely,
What if
that's
instead of $98 billion surplus that the state had, what if we had $120 billion left in surplus because we didn't waste 20 some odd billion dollars?
just lower the gas tax, and I'll be happy with that.
Or any tax, Eric. I know the gas tax is the number one. That impacts everybody. I don't understand why they don't get that. If you wanted to help inflation right now, and you're helping the poorest of the poor, because everybody needs transportation, and you're helping the next generation of the poor all the way to the middle class, if you're a multimillionaire and so forth, listen, $25 extra on each gas tank is not going to kill you. But if you're a family of four, that's a lot of money on a weekly basis or more.
I agree. Like, keep your stimulus checks, or whatever it's called. And lower the gas tax.
Yeah.
I don't know how we always get back in politics.
We do. I didn't mean to, but I was talking about that whole process.
I know.
So here in Downey, on there we have Dia de los Muertos coming up. That's a big deal at the Downey Theater. By the time this airs, it'll be over.
Right.
Okay. So there's a lot of fun stuff coming up. So anyways.
Yeah.
And I want to thank for the Christmas parade. The main sponsor has been always Financial Partners Credit Union, which sponsors this show.
There you go.
And they're always doing a great job. They were the main sponsor yesterday for the State of the City. So they're great with the chamber, they're great on community events, so we had to give them a little love because, number one, they deserve it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Are you riding in the parade this year, the Christmas parade?
I am with the Army.
Okay.
I'll be riding with Captain Henry representing the United States Army. And
Very nice.
I do every year now, and it's kind of fun. I try to take Benny in it, and we get a Humvee and ride there. But what interesting is we don't have any installations around here. Any big Ford. The closest one is Fort Irwin, a couple hours away in the desert. So our young kids and our kids don't get a chance to see our soldiers. So sometimes they don't have anybody to look up to, if you will. So for them to see them in a parade, wearing their uniforms, you never know. That's a kid that can look up on there. Here's somebody that looks like me. Wow. Maybe I should explore it. So it plants the seed. So, and it also thanks the soldiers that for their service here.
Sure.
Because being here in LA is not easy. It's very costly for them to live, and it's not easy for them to be recruiters.
Yeah,
or so forth. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping the parade is live streamed somewhere, or not even live streamed. Maybe it'll be streamed somewhere.
Has it been in the past before COVID?
Remember back in the day, it used to be on Continental Cable, like the local cable. It would be on there, and I think Marsha Moon and Don Kanabi who were the hosts, and that was actually kind of fun back then. And
it was.
I mean, if you remember that, you're kind of old, like we are. But it would be nice. That's not an option anymore. But it'd be nice to record it, post it on YouTube.
We should bring that up to Michael Calver from the chamber.
That would be nice. I mean, they have announcers there, and I don't know.
Where does that go? They have announcers just for the local people.
I think it's just for the people who are there.
Oh, I didn't know that. I never thought about it.
It's interesting. I don't know.
All right, I'll let you wrap it up, Eric.
You do a great job. You wrap it up.
Well, listen, it's always fun talking to you. Thank you for putting up with my extra hyperness this morning. It's going to be a great upcoming week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for staying involved. And thank you for listening to us. So you've been listening to Talking Downey with Mario
And Eric.